3 YouTube videos a week, 52 weeks in a year, for almost 2 years. That's over 150 videos that I've used the Zeapon Micro Slider 2, and that's not counting the documentary that I'm currently working on here in Vietnam. And before we go any further, I want to thank the sponsor for today's video, Surfshark VPN. I'll have a special offer for you guys at the end of the video. I have been using this Zeapon Micro 2 slider now before Zeapon went on this whole YouTube advertising campaign with sending creators these. I bought this with my own money when it was only sold on AliExpress, and I had it imported here into Vietnam. I paid a little bit under $300 for it, or right around $300 for it. And I got the optional spider feet base for it. And this has been an absolutely necessary piece for my YouTube channel. As someone that reviews tech, I constantly need smooth footage that showcases multiple sides, multiple angles of a product in a dynamic way to keep my viewers engaged. On top of that, I have been filming an absolutely wild documentary about an ex-Latvian gangster that's on the run from the Latvian mob, and now here in Vietnam, who turned into a drug addict, who's now a Pentecostal missionary churchgoer. Absolutely insane story. But a big part of that has been running and gunning and setting stuff up to film. Now at the same time, I've been using this along with a monopod to get cinematic, smooth movement shots. And I could not imagine a slider or a piece of equipment that has been more integral into my workflow, especially with the size of this and the fact that I have my A6500, and I'll get a picture or video of it rigged up for you guys, with a cage, monitor, and then USB battery packs to film everything. This slider has basically lived on this K&F Concepts ultra cheap carbon fiber tripod. Now, this is definitely not the best tripod slider combination, but before I bought this slider, my only other experience with a slider was using a Chinese brand, and there's nothing wrong with Chinese branded products, but it was like a cheap, not Ulanzi, but like a cheap kind of run-of-the-mill average, let's say $100 Amazon slider on a advertisement that I had filmed here in Hanoi. And that slider was a huge turnoff to me as my first introduction to using a slider, because getting smooth, stable footage without any type of shaking was not a simple task. And the reason specifically that I bought the Micro 2 is because I wanted a slider that could fit in my Peak Designs everyday 30-liter backpack, which this one does totally fine. And I wanted a way that I could quickly set stuff up, shoot, go, break it down, go to a new location, film, or even just leave my slider on this tripod, hold my camera by the top handle, go to location to film the necessary moving shots for this documentary, just kind of out and about here in Hanoi. After almost 2 years of intense usage on location in a studio, how has this held up? Has this like broken? Does it still move slidely? And I'm really, really happy to say that over a lot of usage, and especially being used in the rain, being used in not the cleanest of conditions outside where it's dusty, I have had a great user experience with it. The included dust, kind of the dust wiping mechanism that this slider has done a fantastic job of keeping the sliding motion almost perfectly smooth, the way it was the day that I bought it. I did use some motorcycle chain, like kind of sticky lubricant on some of the moving surfaces and around the ball bearings. And I don't really think that that's done much in the way for like longevity of this. I did go ahead and instead of using the included really, really small, dainty ball head, I replaced it with the ball head that was on this tripod before, being the K&F Concepts ball head. This is like a heavy, cheap, probably private labeled from China ball head. Definitely not the best ball head that you could use. I've also used the tripod fluid video head that I have on, are made by Benro, and I've used that tripod head a bit on here, and I've had decent results for both. I think that a higher quality fluid ball head for video coupled with this would probably get you even better performance, as that tripod head cost around 70 bucks. So not that nice, not very much ability to go ahead and create drag for movement and stuff like that. But I still have a fluid rotation for this KNF Concept ball head that's on the tripod right now. And this combination has allowed me to do a ton of stuff. Now, I think that for those of you wondering about whether or not you should get this base level, slightly older generation slider versus the newer one versus the electric one, just a reminder, after all of these videos go live, I am on my Discord server chatting with you guys in the voice chat, answering questions about tech, sharing memes, and I hope to see you guys there. Links in the description. I think a lot of it really depends on your needs. If you are doing stuff that requires repetitive shots or time lapse, I think that the motorized option is a great option. If you're someone like me that oftentimes has to run and gun, work in adverse conditions, the extra money on the electric motorized version of it might not necessarily be that well spent. Along with, if you can get this older version for around 200 to 250 bucks, and I will leave links in the description down below as to where you could find the best deal for these, I don't necessarily think it's worth it. The smaller, newer version takes up slightly less space than this, but at the end of the day, if you are committed to bringing a slider with you, I don't think the extra grams of weight or the very small difference in size is going to be a make or break factor for you. In regards to advice for those of you that might be looking to get this slider or wanting to incorporate this slider into your workflow, my number one suggestion would be to get a dedicated video tripod that has the dome on the base that allows you to go ahead and level it, because that's been maybe one of my biggest frustrations using this on just kind of a generic photo-centric tripod, being that if I want to get any angled movement or any type of movement like that, I have to then either adjust the legs to create that angle or create that instability, or I have to jack one of the other legs up. And so I'm kind of limited for movement with this. I think that there's like the Benro Video Angel tripod something. There's a couple different like carbon fiber tripods that have the integrated ball cup head, pivot head, self-balancing type of head. I don't do a ton of video purchasing of stuff, but I think that a tripod like that for a system like this would give you an absolutely phenomenal, versatile run and gun kind of setup. Carbon fiber tripod with the ability to go ahead and angle this head or level it on any surface would make this just such a killer combination for someone trying to do wildlife or do nature type of videography, as long as you don't need the electric head. Now, there is an optional quick release for this. And this base, I'll go ahead and do a close up for you. The base screws into the bottom of this, and there are some aligning pins as well as an extra guide pin so that you don't have to worry about these feet rotating independent of the head. I have used the feet with this, I think 2 or 3 times in the course of over 150 videos of this. That's not to say that the feet like spider mechanism on this is bad. Just depending upon what you use this for, the extension of these feet, the ability to level these feet might have more value or less value for you. I think that what would actually make a great replacement for this foot system would be some type of quick release plate system. I know that there are versions now from Small Rig. I know that there is another quick release plate system from Zeapon, and possibly Peak Designs. But if you could get another type of quick release plate that would go ahead and attach to the tripod and then to the base of this, that way you can take things up and down quickly, that'd be awesome. If you got a similar quick release setup for your video head, so that you could put your video head on this, off this, and have kind of complete modularity. If necessary, it would allow you to move really, really fast, switch this out. But for like a one-person system, like what I'm currently using it for, I think that this system is fine, but I don't know if I would necessarily use it a lot, especially being that I can get this tripod pretty low to the ground. I want to take a moment and thank the sponsor for today's video, Surfshark VPN. I have an 83% discount if you use the link in the description down below, along with the code Mitchell at checkout. And that brings the price of Surfshark VPN to right around $2 a month. And that's actually how I found them as a sponsor, because I was looking for the most affordable VPN service. Now, here in Vietnam, I have to use public Wi-Fi a lot. I need to do banking stuff, I trade cryptocurrency, and I update my website. And for all of that stuff, I wanna make sure that I have a safe and secure internet connection. And that's where Surfshark VPN comes into play. Along with that, if I have certain TV shows or stuff that I wanna watch on Netflix, Surfshark VPN allows me to open up a completely different library than if I was just logging on from this location. And on top of that, depending upon where in the world you live, you might be dealing with some government censorship the same way I am. And using Surfshark VPN actually can speed up and make my internet connection here more stable. Now, if all of this sounds like an offer you guys want, Surfshark VPN is a 30-day money-back, risk-free trial that you guys can go ahead and sign up for. And if you don't like it, you don't have to pay for it. Go ahead, support the channel and support the companies that support me. Nothing on this tripod has broken on me yet, although I do have a weird sticking issue with the locks for the slider. As the slider goes, if I kind of push it specifically or have like a specific movement and feeling for it to click, it will click into place. Otherwise, I'm left with only one of them. And overall, that's been my only complaint, which if I wanted to take this apart and fix that clicking mechanism so it was a little bit better, probably I could, but as it is, it's not broken, just kind of finicky in its movement.